if you're thinking about moving to Florida in 2026, or even just trying to maybe understand what's actually happening in this market, this is the video I would watch first. Because Florida is no longer one simple decision. It's just move to Florida? No, not anymore. No. It's where in Florida, at what price point, at what job, what income. It just goes on and on and on. It's a very long-term condition that you need to assess. And so right now we need to determine that if you're thinking about Florida, because it's no longer, like I said, you don't just move to Florida. Or it becomes something you could regret, which I see a lot of, and no, Florida's great. And what most people don't realize is this. Florida, like I said, it's no longer one market. It has split several times. It's completely different tiers, different risk levels, different opportunity zones, and different long-term outcomes. So, what I'm going to do in this video is walk you through exactly how I would think about Florida in 2026. And more importantly, if I were personally moving here, where I would look. From lower price entry points all the way up to ultra luxury, on and on. And just so you know who you're listening to, it's Erin, your favorite South Florida real estate agent. I couldn't help myself. Coming right back at you. But really though, I spend every day, each and every day, 7 days a week inside this market. Yeah. Talking to buyers, working with sellers, watching what's actually happening. Not just what headlines are saying. There's a difference. And right now, this market is not frozen. It's not crashing. I know everyone wants to say that. And it's not booming either. That's an obvious. But what it is doing is, I'm going to keep calling it, it's called sorting. Buyers have more options than they did maybe a year or two ago. Inventory is higher. Homes are sitting longer. And sellers are kind of having to be more realistic in this market today. And for some of them, that is sad, I know. But at the same time, not all areas are actually behaving the same way. Some parts of Florida are getting softer, while others, especially higher income corridors, are holding much stronger, actually. Yeah, no joke. So instead of asking, is Florida a good place to move? Because it is. The better question now becomes, where exactly in Florida makes sense for me or me and my family? So, let's start with the first tier. We'll say lower price / value type areas or entry level points. So if your priority is affordability, maybe space, or getting into Florida without feeling super stretched. Maybe you're not used to the area and you just, you're just trying to find out before financially stretching. There are still areas that make sense, most certainly. Places like Ocala, Lakeland, Winter Haven has actually become very popular lately. Even parts of the Space Coast, like Palm Bay, Melbourne. These areas have something kind of in common. They are not driven by just luxury demand. They are driven by value. You can still find more house, more land for your money. Lower entry points compared to South Florida or coastal luxury markets. But here's the part most people miss. These markets are not just about price. They're about lifestyle and job alignment. So, if you're remote, if you're flexible, but if you're looking for a slower pace, these are definitely it, yes. And they can work extremely well for you. But if you need a stronger local job market or high income growth, you have to be more careful, that's all. That's all I'm going to say at this point. Because the risk at the lower end of the market is not always the price. If that makes sense. It's opportunity. So let's go more into the mid-tier, right? There's a lot of people should actually be more focused on this, maybe, because it's kind of like the mid-area, career, all that. Cities like Orlando, Tampa, and Jacksonville. These are what I would call functional markets. They have real economies, real job diversity, good health care, good education, corporate roles, logistics, tourism, and growing business sectors. And right now, these markets are actually becoming more balanced. Buyers have more leverage than they did before, for sure. More inventory, more negotiation power, which means if you're strategic, this is where you can still build a solid life without overpaying at peak levels. But again, you have to think beyond the purchase right now today. Ask yourself, does this city support my career long term, my family? Does it give me flexibility? Does it give me upward mobility? Because the strongest moves right now are not just about buying a home. They're about placing yourself inside the right economic ecosystem. Now we move into a completely different Florida. South Florida. Palm Beach County. Boca. West Palm Beach. Miami. Naples. This is not the same market as the rest of the state we were already speaking about. This is where wealth is concentrating and more every day. Finance, investment firms, family offices, high income migration, private education, luxury development. And while other parts of Florida may soften, this segment behaves very differently, honestly. Because it's not purely driven by local wages, it's driven by capital. And that's a very important distinction to make. If you're moving into this tier, you're not just buying a home. You're buying into a network, a lifestyle, an economic environment that operates on a completely different level. But with that, it does come with higher costs, higher insurance, higher expectations. So the question here becomes, not can I afford it necessarily, but does this environment match my life, my income structure, now, this is where most relocation videos completely fall apart. They talk about beaches, they talk about prices, they talk about lifestyle, but they don't talk about the thing that actually determines your success here. Your income, your career, and the economic structure around you. Florida is not one job market. South Florida is very different from Central Florida. And Central Florida is very different from North Florida. And of course, all the other parts around. Some areas are driven by tourism alone. Some by healthcare. Some by logistics. Some by finance. And if you move to a place that does not support your income, everything else becomes harder. So, before you choose a city, you should be asking, where does my income come from? Is it local? Is it remote? Is it scalable? Because the smartest buyers right now are not just choosing homes. They're choosing environments that support their future. So, final thought for today, guys. If I had to simply simplify this and everything that's happening right now, it would be this. Florida is no longer one size fits all opportunity. It is a state of many choices. Yes, lower cost areas will give you entry. Mid-tier cities give you a lot of stability usually, and high-end markets give you access to capital and network. But will they work for you? They're not going to unless they align with your life. And that's why now the buyers who win are not the ones chasing the cheapest deal or the trendiest city at the moment. They're the ones who understand the structure and make decisions based on that. If you're thinking about moving to Florida, or even just trying to figure out where you fit in this market possibly, drop a comment below and tell me your situation. I read all of them, and I'll help to guide you as much as I can, absolutely. And if you want to work with me directly, whether you're buying, selling, or relocating, my information is below. Make sure you subscribe, because I break this down, the market, each and every day, every different kind of sector. And if you comment and tell me what you want to hear, I'll probably do a video for you. Do some research if I don't already know it. See you tomorrow.